Ben Simmons finally hits his first three-pointer. We got to talk about what that means. We also got to talk about a couple of teams who it somehow just keeps getting worse for. Followed by that, we got to cover the other games from last night and then end the night off by talking about the game of the night, the Celtics versus the Clippers. But that's a look at what we gotta take a look at today. But with that out of the way, what is up, guys? It's me, Zachary. How y'all doing today? Hope you're having a fantastic day, no matter what part of the world you might be watching from. You guys coming in already know the drill, though. Go ahead and destroy that like button, as it truly does help the channel grow. Not only that, though, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with post notifications turned on so you don't miss out on more videos like this every Monday through Friday. That is 5 days per week. That's enough of my jibber jabber, though. That's enough talking. Now let's get into everything that we got to talk about today. Let's get it. Let's go.
Ntilikina, a below average three-point shooter. There's Simmons. Yes! He did it! Ben Simmons! Hold me back, fan! Maybe now they'll finally leave him alone after that. He hits the three, his first in his NBA career.
I think Ben Simmons is kind of ticked off at the NBA world. I don't think Ben Simmons is very happy with the people surrounding the NBA world. All right, Ben Simmons, of course, made his first three last night. It happened. It was out of nowhere. No one saw it coming. No one expected it just to happen on a random Wednesday in November. But it did. And Ben Simmons, after making that, he tried to play it cool. Ben Simmons was like, it's no big deal. What you mean? I make these all the time in practice. What you guys talking about? Why is everyone cheering and everything like this? He was playing it cool as a cucumber, no matter how many people in the stands, how many announcers, how many fans, how many freaking people on the sidelines, how many RJ Barretts were looking at him smiling, going up back down the court. Right, Ben Simmons was playing cool, and even in his post-game interview, when he was asked about how it feels to finally make his first three, Ben Simmons was still trying to play it cool. All he said was, it feels good. You put in the work in the summer, and it pays off. I mean, here's a guy who just, in his book, made history. Made his first NBA three-pointer. For a lot of people, it happens a little earlier on in their careers, but for Ben Simmons, it took a few years. It's no big deal, right? Except it is. It is to a lot of people. And that's why Ben Simmons is ticked off at the NBA world. Because here's a guy who's doing some incredible things on the basketball court his first 2 years in the league. His first year in the league, he gets his praise. He gets a lot of people who don't like him, who point out the fact that he can't shoot, who'd rather see Donovan Mitchell win Rookie of the Year over him. He gets his fair share of those. But for the most part, people are appreciating the fact that he's leading the Philadelphia 76ers to the playoffs with Joel Embiid and doing things in the NBA that hadn't been done since guys like Jason Kidd and Magic Johnson. But then in the playoffs, when he got exposed against the Boston Celtics for not being able to shoot, the question of, hey, this guy might really need to be able to shoot to play for the Philadelphia 76ers started to arise. Then over the summer, there was hope that Ben Simmons might return with a jumper for his second year playing in the NBA. Did it really happen? People will just say, you know, it's a work in progress. Of course, it's going to take some time. He's still playing good for the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers are still looking good. They might even be able to come out of the East this year, so we're going to lay off of it. But then, of course, they don't. They end up losing to Kawhi Leonard, the Toronto Raptors. And then over the offseason, now we're all like, well, Ben Simmons is clearly not going to be able to win a championship unless he doesn't develop a jump shot. But then we start getting leaks of Ben Simmons developing a jump shot, news that he might be able to be shooting start coming out, and everyone's excited like this could be it. This could be the time. And then the season comes around, and now 15 games into the year, he finally makes his first three-pointer. That's the whole entire Ben Simmons story so far, and that's not the story that I don't think Ben Simmons wants for his career so far. 3 years in, and the biggest story regarding Ben Simmons is him making his first three-pointer. And this is a guy who, once again, his rookie year was doing historic things. So I don't really blame Ben Simmons for feeling the way he does. He probably hates the NBA world for only pointing out the fact, constantly pointing out the fact that he can't shoot because up until the point where he made it to the NBA, he never really needed to know how to shoot, so he never really learned how to shoot, so that's why he didn't have a shot, and now he's just now learning how to shoot. Everyone's pointing out that, but no one's pointing out the fact, people aren't talking about the fact enough that he can do everything else on the NBA court. Every single thing else. He has shown you, he has shown us that he can do on the basketball court. He's having a down year for the Philadelphia 76ers. I think it's because the Philadelphia 76ers don't space the floor enough for a guy like Ben Simmons. It's point blank period. That's why he's having a down year. This team was not built around Ben Simmons. I don't even think it was built around Joel Embiid, to be honest with you, because it's good, but it's getting by off talent alone, I think, at this point. They haven't been meshing, the group that they hasn't been meshing, but I already made a whole video talking about that. I already made a whole video talking about how Ben Simmons just doesn't fit with this Philadelphia 76ers team. But here's a guy who 3 years playing into his professional career, technically his 4th year, I believe, in the NBA, the biggest story about him, the people want to talk about the most about him, has been his inability to shoot the ball while he's been able to do everything else great. And I think Ben Simmons is pissed off about that. Real quick before we get into the game recaps, there's a couple of teams that I want to touch on that did specifically awful things last night that I just can't let slide any longer. First of all, the San Antonio Spurs. It gets worse for the Spurs. We just talked about them. I think it's time for them to give it up because we have never seen this out of the Spurs in the entire 20 plus past 2 decades, right? The San Antonio Spurs team just lost to the Washington Wizards. They just let the Washington Wizards drop 138 points on their head. They have been god-awful defensively, and then you look at the way the team is built, and you just wonder what's the point. DeMar DeRozan could leave this offseason for nothing, so San Antonio really should be looking to trade him right now. If not, they're probably going to work out some type of a deal, but even that's like, why do you want... It's a whole mess and a conundrum that's going on in San Antonio, but they're doing a good job of keeping it behind closed doors, at least. You're not seeing any articles coming up about the Spurs players or coaches panicking, so I guess that's a good thing. The other thing is the Detroit Pistons just got blown out by the Chicago Bulls, 89-109. Now Blake Griffin is back. Derrick Rose is playing. Sure, Blake Griffin has to get some rust off, but there is no way that they should be losing to the teams that they're losing to. They haven't won a game in I don't remember how long. They've been losing to teams that they had no business losing to. This is their second time losing to the Bulls. They've lost to the Wizards. They've lost to the Hawks. They've lost to just about every team, the Hornets. They've lost to every team that they don't have business losing to, and it's really time for this team, I think, in my book, to move on. I mean, it's just time to rebuild. You're not going to win a championship with Blake Griffin as your best player on this Detroit Pistons team with the situation that we have. It's not going to happen. Just embrace the tank. We're already at a good pace. We're 4-10 on the year, right? 14th in the freaking East. 14, we're as bad as New York at the moment, right? I mean, what more reason do you have to just say, you know what, enough is enough? Tired of maybe hoping for a late season run to make the A seed and then have Giannis shove his fist up our butts again. I ain't having that no more. The last thing that we got to talk about today is the game between the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Clippers, and we're going to get right to that. But first, we do have to knock out quite a few other games that went down. Going to try and get through these as quick as possible. First of all, Luka Doncic is not nice. He bullied the Golden State Warriors last night. Get this, a 35-point triple-double, 35 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists in just 25 minutes. And like I said, 142-94, the final score. Luka Doncic is not nice. The Denver Nuggets cooled off the Houston Rockets, 105-95, the final score. Nikola Jokic with one of his best offensive games of the season with 27 points and 12 rebounds, and Jamal Murray with one of his worst offensive games of the season with only 10 points on 4 of 14 shooting, but the man did have 9 assists and also had a career-high 6 steals. The Toronto Raptors continue to just cruise along, 113-97, they get the win over the Orlando Magic with still no Kawhi Leonard or Serge Ibaka. Red VanVleet, 24 points on the night. The Milwaukee Bucks, of course, beat the Atlanta Hawks yesterday. Giannis Antetokounmpo continuing just to make it look so easy. 33 points 11 rebounds and 4 assists. And also, quick shout out to Eric Bledsoe. He has stepped up in the absence of Chris Middleton. 28 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists, and also just 25 minutes, but because he fouled out in those 25 minutes. The Brooklyn Nets still playing without Kyrie Irving, and they're still able to beat the Charlotte Hornets. 3 players for the Nets scoring at least 20 points, led by Jarrett Allen and his 22 points and 17 rebounds. The Miami Heat had no trouble beating the Cleveland Cavaliers last night, 124-100 the final score. Duncan Robinson, a career night, 29 points and 9 of 15 from 3. This guy can stroke the ball. And last but the second, Andrew Wiggins returning for the Wolves last night after sitting out a few games during the grieving process for his grandmother. Glad to see him back on the court, but things didn't go so well for the Wolves last night against the Jazz, as it was Utah who was able to come away with a 103-95 win behind Bogdanović, Boggy Bog, in his 30 points. Now though, for what we really gotta talk about today. Now though, for the game that everyone was anticipating once we heard that Kawhi Leonard was actually going to play after sitting out his past few games. If Kawhi Leonard didn't play this game, all hell was about to break loose from NBA fans, from the media. Everyone was about to be so upset with Kawhi Leonard after he already robbed us of a game against Giannis Antetokounmpo. So it's good that he played last night for a couple of reasons. For the fact that no one's slandering Kawhi Leonard for not playing, but also for the Los Angeles Clippers, as it was a very, very close game as expected. 107-104 the final score. The Clippers do manage to get the win. Paul George, 25 points, and Kawhi Leonard did struggle a bit with only 17 points on 20 field goal attempts. The big guy for the Clippers, though, was of course Patrick Beverley. The Celtics just let the man do whatever he wanted on the basketball court out there last night, and it hurt them big time. 14 points, 16 rebounds, and 7 assists for P. Bev. Now though, what I actually want to talk about for this game is how impressed I am by these Boston Celtics still. Now I know the Los Angeles Clippers are good, and it was good to see Kawhi Leonard and Paul George sharing the court for the first time this year. I'm excited to see how those guys continue to grow and continue to develop on the basketball court. This was game 1, but there are no worries about how they're going to fit next to each other. These are 2 guys who just want to compete at a high level and want to win championships. There's going to be no chemistry problems. It's going to be all smooth sailing for those 2 guys once they really do learn how to play with each other on the court. For the Boston Celtics, though, what I am so impressed by is how they went out there and competed in a very tough game against a very tough team on the road in the midst of this 5-game Western Conference road trip. I mean, this Boston Celtics team is still playing without the player who was the best player for them before he went down, in Gordon Hayward. And they're right there with this Los Angeles Clippers team. Right now, if healthy, I have the Boston Celtics as my favorites to come out of the Eastern Conference until further notice. Because you look at the way this Boston Celtics team is playing, and they're playing better than they have ever played in the past 5 years. Ever since we've had this time during the Boston Celtics and their Brooklyn Nets draft pick, Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Isaiah Thomas, post Isaiah Thomas phase. During this past most recent Boston Celtics saga in their long history. Right? They're playing the best basketball that they've ever played. And this is a team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals a couple of years ago and forced LeBron James into a close Game 7 with a rookie Jason Tatum as their best player. And yes, last year was abysmal for the Boston Celtics for a variety of reasons. Kyrie Irving not working out as their leader. Gordon Hayward not being able to play at Gordon Hayward levels because he's still trying to work himself back from an injury. Team personnel problems, chemistry issues. It was all there for the Boston Celtics. And because of that, the hype on them died down. But if you remember the hype leading into last year, this was a team that was expected to rival a healthy Golden State Warriors. We're talking about a healthy team that had Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Kevin Durant. People were looking at the Boston Celtics heading into last season saying, you know what? If there's any team in the Eastern Conference that is legitimately going to be able to have a shot at beating them, it's most likely going to be the Boston Celtics. That was the expectations for them last year. And this is the team that we were supposed to see last year. They're playing like that right now. And that's why I had them as my favorites. The series versus Milwaukee last year, that will not be a good indicator of a series if these two teams were to meet up right now. It will be a good series, but I think the Boston Celtics have a lot more weapons than the Milwaukee Bucks do, especially since who knows if Eric Bledsoe will actually show up at all during the playoffs. So right now, they're my favorites. That could change. The Bucks could make a move. Something happens with the Bucks. Of course, Giannis could just dominate and say, I'm the best player in this series, so I'm going to win this series. This is my year. And then when it comes to a team like the Toronto Raptors, I think it'll be a good series between them two, but I think the Boston Celtics just have more than the Toronto Raptors. And then the Philadelphia 76ers, they just haven't been the best fit on the court together so far. There's a lot of questions that they have to answer. So right now, I got the Boston Celtics coming out of the Eastern Conference. Maybe Indiana, when Victor Oladipo comes back and he can start playing good, can say something about that, because this team without Victor Oladipo has been terrific, especially shout out to the guy, Domantas Sabonis. This guy has been putting up all-star numbers, yet not many people are talking about him because he's on the Indiana Pacers. And then you got Malcolm Brogdon, TJ Warren. You got a lot of really good guys on the Indiana Pacers team. And then Victor Oladipo is going to be the cream of the crop. He's going to be the hardest working guy leading a group of hard working players. That's why I like the Indiana Pacers. But this Boston Celtics team, man, I'm impressed by them. And I still don't think people are taking them seriously enough in the Eastern Conference. That's actually going to do it for today, though. Let me know what you guys think about everything that we had to talk about in this video. Let me know what you think about Ben Simmons hitting his first career three-pointer. Not only that, let me know what you think about the Boston Celtics and my take on the Boston Celtics and about them being my favorites currently to come out of the Eastern Conference. Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. That's gonna do it for today, though, guys. Thank you once again for watching. Make sure that you like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more videos like this every Monday through Friday. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs, but until tomorrow, keep getting to the buckets, Team STC, and I'm out of here. Peace!